Okay, so I'm going to do Szechuan sauce because that's trending right now, but I gotta figure out who is going to help me with it. It's really, who's a good...
I will do it. It is not Greek, so I will do it to avoid the stereotype.
I think that's a really great idea, Arnaki. So today we are going to make a not Greek dipping sauce.
Yes.
And it has been trending.
The Greek ship is tired of just doing the Greek stuff.
That's exactly it. And do you know why this is a sauce that we're going to try to make?
Because it's not Greek.
Because it's not Greek, but also there was a cartoon called Rick and Morty.
Rick and Morty.
Yep, and
not Greek either.
They are not Greek either that I know of, and they mentioned that way back when, you remember the movie Mulan?
Mulan?
Yes.
Also not a Greek movie.
No, it's not a Greek movie, it's a movie about China, and when that came out, McDonald's came out with a special dipping sauce for their chicken McNuggets, and it was called Szechuan sauce.
Szechuan.
And apparently the people who make Rick and Morty really were big fans of this Szechuan sauce, and so they kicked up such a fuss, they made such a big deal out of it that McDonald's came out with it for a very limited time. And so we are going to try to make something that is very close to the McDonald's Szechuan sauce. Not quite real Szechuan sauce though.
Okay.
A real Szechuan sauce is something that you might get at, say, a Chinese hot pot restaurant, you know, where you have a big pot of like boiling oil or boiling broth and you cook meat in it.
Not the Greek restaurant.
It's not Greek, but the Szechuan sauce, a traditional Szechuan sauce, is very hot. It's made with...
hot and spicy.
It's very hot and spicy. It's made with mostly Szechuan peppers, and you just put a little bit in to add spice and heat to your dish.
And then you burn your mouth off.
And then you burn your mouth off, which is exactly what you should do in a hot pot restaurant. But you don't want to do that at McDonald's, especially.
McDonald's, no.
So the Szechuan sauce, there's a lot of ideas about what it's about. I had it when it came out with Mulan. I thought that they were just
doing... It had a limited quantity.
They didn't have a limited quantity then. They just had it as one of the sauces when the movie came out. But now it's very limited, and people are having a lot of trouble getting it. And so we're going to make something...
There will be no riots here.
No riots here. Nope, it's just me and Arnaki, and we're going to try two different versions of this kind of Americanized Szechuan sauce based on what people say it tastes like and based on a couple of traditional recipes.
Well.
And we're going to make it all right here.
In front of the Greek.
In front of the Greek, because you wanted to make a non-Greek recipe.
Exactly.
Okay, so stay tuned and we will make two versions of a Szechuan dipping sauce with 3 ingredients.
Two versions.
Two versions. So this is version number 1, and
number 1.
Yep, and the reason that I'm not doing this in a separate camera shot is I want to talk about the reasons or how I came up with this recipe. Even the sort of
Yes.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Okay, you're paying attention.
The story is gripping me.
Okay, so even the McDonald's version of this Szechuan sauce, any kind of dipping sauce, you're either going to have a very simple flavor or a very complex flavor. This would be a very complex flavor based on some heat and some Asian seasonings and some sweetness. To my taste, when the Szechuan sauce came out, it just tasted like a teriyaki sauce.
Teriyaki.
Like with maybe a little bit more heat to it. But a traditional Szechuan sauce, or the ones that people have made that I've looked up with a lot of ingredients, have things like Szechuan peppers, which are very hot, Szechuan peppercorns, which are also very spicy, ginger, garlic, soy sauce, some sugar,
that's more than 3 ingredients.
More than 3 ingredients, and vinegar, or an acid of some sort. So for our first try at this, I am going to start off with this Gochujang sauce.
Gochujang?
Yep, now this is a...
Where's Gochujang? I need to go there.
You're cute. Now this sauce is a Korean sauce, but it does have the hot peppers. It also has a lot of sweetness to it, so it's the right consistency for dipping. It is sweet and hot, so it gets rid of the sugar and the peppers that we need for the 3 ingredients. So we're going to start with that, and all of these are going to be approximate measurements. So I'm going to do a couple of tablespoons of this.
Okay.
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 Now, since we have sweet and hot, we have to add that soy flavoring that we were looking for. So that's easy enough to do. We're going to do that with soy sauce.
How about that?
Yep. Now, soy sauce is very thin, but this is a very thick gochujang sauce, so those two will go together for a nice dipping sauce.
So you get something that meets in the middle.
Yep. And we also have this honey ginger, balsamic vinegar. Remember we did this, we used this for another recipe before.
I wasn't there.
You weren't there, but this is a great way to get a couple of flavors into one ingredient, and this has balsamic vinegar, which is that nice acid. It also has honey, which makes it sweet. Helps to work out this heat here, and it also has some more ginger, which gives you more of an Asian flavor.
Ginger.
Yep. So we're going to mix all of these together, and then we'll test that out.
Okay.
All right. Okay, are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right. So we don't want to overdo it with this gochujang because you tried some, right?
Yo,
very hot. Has a real kick. Now some people. What was it like? Yep. Now, for some people that might not be too hot, but this is very hot for our household. So we're just going to use about a teaspoonful of that to start with. There we go. And then to thin out this, because it's a very thick paste, and it also is very spicy, I'm going to add probably a teaspoon, maybe equal parts, about a teaspoon, maybe a teaspoon and a half of the soy sauce. There we go. How's that look? Looks good. And then to add some acid and ginger and sweetness, really to cut down on that spice.
Don't drop the acid.
I'm going to add this white balsamic vinegar, which has honey and ginger in it, and maybe I'll do that a little bit less, maybe 3/4 of a teaspoon, just a little dollop of that.
And then you're going to mix that up?
We're going to mix that up. So put down my spoon, my measuring spoon, and then we'll mix this up.
The measuring spoon which you originally didn't use?
I did for the well, everybody's a critic.
The old country we don't measure anything.
I'm not your yaya.
Yes.
So we're gonna taste.
Well, maybe a little on the eyes.
I'm getting old. Okay, what do you think?
Okay, it's not as spicy as before. That's good.
So you can alter the amount of spice that you have on this. You can make it a little bit hotter. You can make it a little bit sweeter. If it's a little too overwhelming in one way or the other, you can always make adjustments to that. But that's a pretty good sauce.
You can put some feta cheese in there.
I thought we were not doing Greek.
I know, but I'm curious what the feta cheese would taste like with the sauce.
Okay, but that's more than 3 ingredients.
It's fusion, okay?
So this is sauce number 1.
Sauce number 1.
Okay, and now we're going to try sauce number 2.
Okay.
So that's a good sauce, huh? All right. So for sauce,
what are we doing for the second one?
Second sauce. Like I said, I thought that the original one at McDonald's tasted like teriyaki.
Teriyaki.
Like a sort of spiced up teriyaki sauce.
Spiced up teriyaki sauce?
So I'm going to start with some teriyaki sauce.
Ooh, with honey in it.
This one has honey in it. I'm using a sweet teriyaki sauce. I'm also using one that is more of a dipping sauce or a glaze. You don't want to use a thin one because the other 2 ingredients don't have, they're kind of watery, so they wouldn't make a good dipping sauce. So we're going to, again, use about a teaspoon and a half of this teriyaki sauce.
Okay.
Okay?
All right.
The next ingredient, so that we get the heat, is we are going to use this hot sesame oil.
Hot sesame oil.
Hot sesame oil. Now this adds a lot of really deep flavor because sesame oil comes with a lot of Chinese cooking. Really adds that nice nutty flavor, and then the heat in the sesame oil is very hot. Yep. So we're going to add probably about a teaspoon of that. And then to get a little bit of sweetness and a little bit of acid, we are going to use this rice vinegar.
The rice vinegar.
Yep. Rice vinegar is another staple in Chinese cooking. It adds not only a real...
You hold paper together?
Excuse me?
You say the staples. What?
You can...
Don't make fun of the foreign.
I was just letting you sputter out. So we're going to use another about teaspoon and a half, probably a little bit less, of this rice vinegar. It adds a lot of sweetness. It's a sweeter vinegar, but it also adds that acidic kick. So why don't we and I am going to take your advice, and I'm just going to pour it all in with no spoons or anything.
Yes.
We're just going
like Yaya would do.
Like Yaya would do. Or whatever the Chinese version. If you know Chinese, let us know what the name for grandmother is.
I cannot read the Chinese.
Yeah, neither can I, but they could tell us.
Alphabet.
Right. So you'd have to spell it out phonetically. So I put in about a teaspoon and a half of the teriyaki sauce. Went more with like 3/4 of a teaspoon of this hot sesame oil. You can always add more, but if you add too much, it's going to be too spicy. And then I'm just going to add about a teaspoonful. I'm going to add about a teaspoonful of this rice vinegar. once again.
And then you mix it up.
We're going to mix this right up. Now this is going to make a bit of a thicker sauce, just because the teriyaki has probably corn syrup in it to make it really nice and sweet. So let me taste that. Taste first. You know what? It's a little too sweet. Add in a little bit more heat. And a little bit more vinegar. I was being a little bit too... There we go. Oh, you can feel the kick in that, actually. That that hot sesame oil.
It kicked you?
It kicks you in. It kicks in a little bit. Wait, let's try that. Okay, that's better. What do you think? Cool. That definitely has a kick to it, but this second version of it, it's I'm gonna call it a more of a cleaner heat. It's a real pure pepper type of heat, whereas with the gochujang, it's more of a sweet chili heat. Can't taste them here. The reason that we are doing these two sauces and showing the process of the tasting and all that is to show that if you know the basics of what you are cooking, what kind of flavors you're going for, you can then make substitutions. So for the versions of this that we made before, that I looked up online, it was a lot of ingredients like garlic, ginger, chilies, soy sauce, and vinegar, all sorts of things that would really add too many ingredients for us. We simplified it down to 3 ingredients. We have this sort of thinner sauce, and we have this thicker sauce, which has a little bit more of a kick, but it's also a little bit sweeter. So if you are really, really interested in having some Szechuan sauce, but you couldn't make it to McDonald's in time, why not try making your own? We did it in, what, 7 minutes?
Something like that.
Yeah, we made it in a few minutes with things that we already had in the pantry. You can keep testing it until you find something you like, and we used very few ingredients, and we have a whole bunch of sauce that we can now dip McNuggets or what else could we have? We could use chicken nuggets. What?
Dim sum.
Dim sum. You could, yeah. Oh, it would be great with pot stickers or dumplings or anything like that. All right. I'm so glad that you came for the second week in a row.
So am I.
So we had a Greek dish last week. If you hadn't tried that, we did a Greek cheese pie, and we made that really simple. And then this week you made a non-Greek.
2 of them.
2 of them. 2 Americanized versions of a Chinese dipping sauce that, for some reason, is really popular due to McDonald's and a cartoon.
Yes.
Yeah. So.
I have a question.
Yes.
What would those 2 taste like together?
Well, let's try that later on.
Okay.
Because we only do 3 ingredients here, but that would be 6 ingredients. But I bet if you mixed it all together...
If you mix it all together, no, now we only have 2 ingredients.
That's true. If you make these Szechuan sauces, then you can mix them together. That's 2 ingredients.
Cheating. And
then the 3rd ingredient could be some wontons, and then you have a whole meal.
There you go.
Perfect.
All right.
So, did you enjoy being here twice?
Well, of course I did.
So, what can people do if they enjoyed watching you twice?
You can repeat what I said last time.
You could subscribe. Subscribing will notify you when we have a brand new episode. You can also leave a comment down below. We got some really good suggestions last week of what we can make, so we will definitely take those.
You can share.
And sharing. I have to say that sharing is one of the most important things you can do for us. If you share on social media, just write a tweet, send an email, put it on Facebook, let people know that we exist, and we would be more than happy to have more people join us on 3 ingredient recipes. We're here every Thursday.
Yes.
All right. So thanks for joining us this time. If you have had Szechuan sauce at McDonald's with this re-release and you try this, let us know how it compares and which one's better.
Okay.
Don't tell us if the McDonald's is better. Just tell us as long as it's better.
Which one of ours is better?
Yeah. Or if you came up with a version of your own, give it a try and let us know what recipes you tried out.
All right.
All right. So thanks so much for joining us this time. We'll see you again next time.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Oh.
I'm here.
You're here? Well, I guess you've decided that we're going to do something else
well, I didn't think you'd do 2 Greek things in a row, so I figured we got a pretty good chance that they would. We can try that again.
Do you want your whisk? Okay.